A Radiohead reaction. Do we say podcast? Is that what I usually say?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the 15th Floor, a Radiohead reaction podcast where a Gen X father tries to convince his Gen Z son that Radiohead is the greatest band of all time by introducing him to Radiohead music one song at a time, where he reacts for the first time and I react for the 100 zillionth time. What's the last video we did? We did Fake Plastic Trees, and then we did the Role Reversal was the last one we did. How many views does Role Reversal have?
125.
125?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Are we losing people? We really do need to start getting to some more of the modern music requests that we don't know, that we're both reacting to the first time. I don't know if that will be a popular thing, but we got to find time to do that. That's the big thing, is time. Radiohead's priority. So that's but we're coming up with some time that we'll be able to do that and come up with a good way that we can take your suggestions. But we've got a lot of good ones so far, so keep those coming in. Go back and look at the last video, the role reversal for Yesterday by Imagine Dragons. If you haven't checked that one out, if you haven't checked out Fake Plastic Trees, if you haven't checked out any of the other previous ones, watch all the videos. They're good. Radiohead music is good. By request of J.O., Pearly Pearl, and Kid Albert A., we are doing Optimistic from 2000's Kid A. We're going back to Kid A this time. A lot of people have had requests. They really want to get back to In Rainbows because there's some really good In Rainbows stuff that we haven't done yet. Of course, we got to get back to In Rainbows. Of course, we got to get back to The King of Limbs. I mean, yeah, I just want to go all over the place. We got to start getting into some of these B-sides. Keep suggesting the ones you want to do. I think next time we'll probably finally get into Amnesiac. Which song do you recommend from Amnesiac? The one that we should start with. I know you want Pyramid Song. Are we ready for Pyramid Song? We just did Fake Plastic Trees, but we'll see. Give me some suggestions. Kid A, if you remember, Jacob, is the album that came after OK Computer. OK Computer was huge. By the way, I do want to point out that I just looked at a ranking online of the top 100 albums from the 90s, excuse me. The Bends was, I believe, number 5 or 4. Might have been number 5. Nirvana's Nevermind was number 2. And number 1 was OK Computer by Radiohead. So Radiohead had 2 in the top 10. I think 2 in the top 5. I think it was number 5. Yeah, that's what your little sister wanted you to know. She was like, "Oh, you got to tell Jacob about Radiohead being in the top 5 twice." Yeah. OK Computer was just an amazing album, and everyone was excited for more Radiohead rock because they had just dialed it in. And then came Kid A, and it was not the same. But it was good, not the same. Optimistic is an interesting song because there were no singles released from Kid A. They didn't, just send out a bunch of singles to play on radio stations. But because this is one of the only songs on Kid A that's structured very classically like all rock songs and is basically a guitar-driven song, it's just the classic 5-piece. Everyone's on their guitars, bass guitars and drums, and nothing sneaky. Then it made sense to release this song. So it got a lot of radio play here in the United States. And so it's the most radio-friendly song from Kid A, but certainly I don't think many people's choice as the best song from Kid A, although I think it's a perfectly likable song. In the description, of course, we have Optimistic. Please take a moment and listen to the whole song, get to know Optimistic, so you know what we're reacting to. Jacob, what do you know about Optimistic?
It's a song.
It's a great song. I'm excited about it. Let's get into it. Without any further ado, let's listen to from 2000's Kid A. This is Optimistic.
Intro, I don't know why I stop it at the intros. I just feel like I should say something, but I say the same thing every time. It's a good intro. We're getting into something. Let's hope the intro lives up. Let's hope the rest of the song lives up to the intro.
I think that intro is. I've always liked the choral oohs and ahs there. It sounds almost Led Zeppelin like, and it fits into this any time in rock. It's a good start. Flies a buzz around my head, vultures circling the dead, picking up every last crumb. Big fish eat the little ones, not my problem, give me some. You can try the best you can, you can try the best you can, you can try the best you can, the best you can is good enough.
So for me, I'm starting to slowly realize that if you want to take this as an insult, then take it as an insult, but I don't think it's really much of an insult. It's just all the Radiohead songs, or maybe I'm just tired, sound the same at some point, to where I feel like I'm saying the same thing about their songs every single time. You know, there's like a little mystery to it, and his voice is really...
I think you're kind of spooked out by his vocals all the time. He's got a very high, even often falsetto, that try the best you can. I think that is unusual to you for hearing that versus someone like Dan Reynolds from Imagine Dragons, who stays in his vocal range. This is, of course, in Tom York's vocal range, but he's really expanding that vocal range pretty far out there. And I've got to point out that I love Johnny Greenwood going up that guitar neck during the chorus. You'll hear it start low enough to almost be a bass note, and it just dom 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 dom. I'm all the way up the neck until while he's singing, you can try the best you can, you can try the best you can. This one's optimistic. This one went to market. Fight out for the animals, living on animal farm. You can try the best you can. 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 The best you can is good enough. I'd really like to help you, man. I'd really like to help you, man. Flying around on a prison ship.
I do like how when he's singing, I should have said this when he was singing it, but this one's optimistic, this one went to the market and stuff like that. Like there's like the guitar that's going, I already forgot because it's happened so long ago. But I don't think it was the guitar that was starting from the neck and then going into a higher pitch.
No, that's during the chorus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the other one that was like,
Yep.
like I like that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was interesting, and that's the uniqueness from this song, and it's like, yeah.
Yeah, once Radiohead scaled back from the wall of guitar sound that they were doing in Pablo Honey and a little bit in the Bends, they really figured out how to utilize their instruments really well. And not that, I mean, of course, other musicians know how to do that the same. Going back to all Radiohead songs sound the same, Optimistic doesn't sound like any of their other songs, in the sense that it's a completely different tune. But yes, they do a lot of similar things. He's going to go into that falsetto a lot. Background vocals, there's going to be those harmonizations, and so there are going to be similarities. And being introduced to a band for the first time, song by song, you're going to say, yeah, this is clearly that same band. Yeah. The only way that's going to be different is if even if you're listening to like David Bowie, through all of his different phases, you're still going to be like, yeah, that's David Bowie. I mean, I can hear that. You can try the best you can. You can try the best you can. The best you can is good enough. You can try the best you can. There are songs home in the end. There are songs home
the creator of that song, is it Tom York or is it just like...
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Tom York.
Yep,
He
absolutely.
said, this song isn't 5 minutes. How do we make this 5 minutes? Let's add a little 20-second jazz part to the end of that song.
Yeah.
I like that.
You think that song has jazz in it. Wait till you hear the national anthem, which is lots of jazz. And, yeah, you'll hear more jazz influence. There's no doubt about it. Tom York, he says in an interview that he went to a concert, and I'm really sorry that I can't remember who he saw. It was a jazz musician. He said, why can't we have jazz in our music? Why can't that be incorporated into what we're doing? And that's a very small snippet of it, but you hear it a lot more in National Anthem and a couple other songs from this album and a couple of other songs that are B-sides from this and moving forward. Oh, man, and you saw that I had to go nuts on that Phil Selway just does such an amazing job of the recall on the closeout there of their oohs and ahs that come from the beginning, and those drum interludes are just awesome.
I like Imagine Dragons as my favorite band because they're all their songs are clearly different. Some songs I think like, oh, that song reminds me of this song, but like they're still clearly different. The mood is different, the instruments are clearly different. And that's why it's hard for me to say different things about these songs. But these songs aren't bad. They are not bad.
And Radiohead fans are going to point this out. There's no doubt about it because they've already pointed it out, but they're going to keep doing it. And that is, we are showing you from Kid A on, these albums work as a whole. They are not, and that's why they didn't release any singles. It's not that Radiohead didn't say. It's not that Radiohead said, "Well, let's look at Kid A. We don't really have any good songs in there, so let's not worry about singles." They stopped believing in the singles. Now they believe in whole works. So it is not fair to Radiohead or to their fans that I say, hey, listen to this song. Hey, listen to this song. And you have no context of where it comes in the album. But that's not what we're trying to do here anyway. I'm trying to let you hear these songs. And at some point, you're going to have heard all the songs on Kid A. And then you're going to listen to Kid A as an album. And you're going to be like, oh, that's perfect right there. Oh, that goes perfectly right there. Oh, that goes perfect right there. And you'll do the same thing with In Rainbows. You'll do the same thing with King of Limbs. And anyway, when you listen in your free time. Okay, like you don't think you'll do that?
Okay, as in if I ever get the chance, I'll do that.
Oh, you'll do it. Even though you've heard these songs, it's not going to ruin it for you when you go back and finally listen to them. There are lots of people. My contention is that people don't like Radiohead haven't heard Radiohead. If they tell me, I've heard Radiohead, I don't really like it, then I think, nah, you don't know what you're talking about. That first verse is clearly not optimistic. It's kind of the dog-eat-dog world. Maybe it's talking about commercialism or just making it in the world. It could be talking about biological things, evolution, that sort of thing, but it doesn't really matter. It's the striving of survival, where the second verse is a little more optimistic. The whole theme of the song seems to sound like it's saying, oh, this is an optimistic song. You can try the best you can, and the best you can is good enough. No, it's not. It's not saying that. It's not a Stuart Smalley daily affirmation. It's saying you can try the best you can. Well, the best you can is good enough, I guess. I mean, to me, it's saying that you are just a small part of this massive world that's bigger than you. There's always someone better at what you're trying to do than you are. And you can try the best you can, and that'll just have to work. That'll be good enough. It's an optimistic song that doesn't really have an optimistic message. There are some live versions, you can find them online, that Tom York drives that point home, that it's not really an optimistic song by singing, you can try the best you can, you can try the best you can. The best you can ain't good enough. Just to really drive the point home. But I love that the song ends with dinosaurs roaming the earth. Like, you think you're big, you think you're bad, but you're nothing. You're going to be extinct. When we review other songs that we both are listening to for the first time, I guess we'll have to try to pick out the message. Yeah. I'm not good at picking out messages the first time I hear a song, because I'm listening. I am almost 100% listening to how the music makes me feel, pure listening.
Even though I didn't say anything good about it, it's still a good song, and I'll give it a 6.5.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think 6.5 to me sits in that place where it's that's fine. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to go out and tell everybody, hey, have you heard Optimistic? I mean, you will. You're not doing it immediately.
Spread the news.
That's right. Oh, and I just had one comment that I wanted to, a YouTube commenter. This was from It Me. Said, love this channel so far. I'm a Gen Z, and even though Radiohead is my favorite band, I think it's still cool people can have different opinions on their music. I mean, you can have different opinions. They're just, if they're not Radiohead pro Radiohead opinions, they're wrong. I mean, that's fine.
Wow, thank you so much.
And I know if you watch a reaction channel for your favorite band, you're watching it because you want to see somebody fall in love with it the same way you do. I know I do the same thing, but it's not always going to be that way. But when you're confident that it's still good music, it doesn't matter if you fall in love with it. At least you're recognizing, okay.
Yeah.
This person goes on to say, would love to see reaction to Life in a Glass House, partly because it's my favorite Radiohead closing track, and also because no one ever reacts to it. It would also be cool if you would react to some B-sides as well. So let me go to Life in a Glass House. Just because you mentioned it's a great closing track, and somebody else said something about a great opening track, I think when we did 2 + 2 = 5. Radiohead is really good at deciding where to put a song in an album. And certainly Nigel Godrich helps them with some of that from a production standpoint. Their albums start with the right song, they end with the right song, and they go in the right order, which we've already talked a lot about. But that I like this comment because of that. React to some B-sides as well, like Pearly, Polyethylene Parts 1 and 2, The Trickster, or Man of War. Those are all good B-sides and probably ones that we'll get to. There are a number of B-sides, especially from like the Creep single and maybe even from the Fake Plastic Trees single, that all kind of do sound the same. A lot of Wallace sound guitar, not easy to get into. But from OK Computer, from the OK Not OK, Kid Amnesiac, and a lot of other B-sides that have just popped up over the years, there are a lot of good ones. Those are all great ones. I love Pearly. I think Pearly is a fun one. Polyethylene Parts 1 and 2, a good change of pace. And The Trickster, that's a fun one too. Let's look at some artwork here. So this is based on the song Optimistic. This is my son's drawing. Person on the right says, "You are right," because the person on the right says, you can do it. Obviously, he listened to "You Can Try the Best You Can, You Can Try the Best You Can," and he jumped on the "You can do it," and you're right, I can do it.
Yep.
He feels like Tom York is saying, it is a positive message. You can do it. You can try the best you can because the best you can's good enough. And then her drawing, she was working on this the whole time that song was playing. The moment she heard those oohs at the lead-in, she started doing this. She does not like me calling it a rainbow because it's clearly not that. It's like a dark sky. She just kept picking a different color as the song went on and filled in the page, and that's what she came up with. We are coming up with ways that we can start doing some polls, and we can start getting some immediate feedback as far as what we should be doing next. But keep suggesting, next time we do Kid A, where do we need to go to next? I know everyone wants to do National Anthem. I think I mean, we need to get to these. I'm not avoiding the songs that people are suggesting. There's a little bit of a method to the madness, but it's all just turning into madness now. So please subscribe, share, comment below, say something nice. We love all the nice comments. Everyone's so good about their comments. I say that every time because I'm just really impressed that people truly can. I always end by saying love one another, and there's a lot of reasons why I say that, but mostly it's just because we just need to say nice things to each other. We really appreciate that those comments are positive and nice, and we've got a good little community going. Continue to love one another, keep listening to music together, and you're now leaving
The 15th floor.